Jeff, the VRBO Airbnb is a super hot topic.
Yes.
Lots of people are utilizing this strategy. I have friends that purchase duplex, live in one side, VRBO the other. The income from the VRBO way overpays their mortgage, and they cash flow like crazy, and then they go off and do it again and again and buy more properties. But there's obviously a correct way to structure these so that you're not finding yourself in hot water. Will you be able to share it with us, please?
Well, of course.
Awesome.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
The first, Airbnb. We first need to define sort of the difference between long-term rentals and short-term rentals.
Okay.
Long-term rentals are generally lease agreements in the at least multiple months or more. Typically, these are year leases, right? And these are your standard rental properties where somebody rents a house for a year on a year lease, or even 2, 3, 4 year leases. Okay. That is a very different investing technique or a different income stream than short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are nightly or weekly rentals, and they're more similar to hotels than a rental property.
Got it.
And they're pretty much governed under hotel law, not landlord-tenant law, although landlord-tenant laws still apply.
Got it.
So right now we're talking about short-term rentals. You know, if you want to pick up a rental property, get on a year lease and have your tenants in there for year after year, that's great. Different story. You can bring me back, and I'm happy to talk about those kinds of rentals.
Perfect.
But on nightly and short-term rentals, tip number one, the first thing you better do is you better check your local zoning ordinances. That's your local city ordinances, where your house is located. All cities have regulations about short-term rentals, and even rental properties in general.
Got it.
But because of the rise in popularity of short-term rentals, and everybody now renting out the spare bedroom, renting out their basement, renting out the mother-in-law apartment or accessory dwelling unit, or ADUs, that what they're called, and that you can make more money on a nightly rental than on a yearly rental, more and more people are jumping into the game.
Got it.
Right, it's a phenomenon happening across the U.S. And so cities everywhere are taking a very close look at this practice. Because what it does is it brings in a lot of nightly turnover of people into normally residential neighborhoods, and there could be, it causes problems with neighbors. And most likely it's the neighbors that are going to complain and report you to the city. And if you're found to be in violation of city code, you're going to be fined, you'll have to shut it down and get the renters out, etc. Okay. Right now, most cities in Utah are allowing it. There are a few cities that are starting to regulate it. All city councils are looking at it, and I'm going to guess within the next 2 years, you're probably going to see a lot of regulations crop up about short-term rentals and how to do appropriately. So you probably need to maybe bring me back in here. Because it's an evolving set of laws right now.
Got it.
So first, check local laws to make sure that you can even do it, and you don't want to get in trouble with the city, because I guarantee your neighbors will report you.
Yes.
Okay. The second thing is, now if it's going to be sort of a spare bedroom or a basement of a house that you're also living in it, here are a couple of steps that you want to do. First, you want to notify your insurance agent that now part of your house is a rental. They're going to change your insurance policy from a homeowner's to a landlord's policy and get you additional coverage in case somebody slips and falls, one of your tenants. Okay. So tip number one, talk to your insurance agent, let them know what you're doing with your property.
Got it.
Secondly, and we'll cover this from now from both the investor and the retail side.
Okay.
Most investors and most people think that rent on a rental property is considered passive income, which in a true rental situation, that's true. So if you have a long-term lease, it's passive income. You hold that rental in LLC, like we said before. All the rent you get's passive. That's awesome. But a nightly rental is not. It's not passive income because it's not considered a rental. It's considered being in the business of a hotel. So it's your business. It is now an active or ordinary income business model that is taxed differently.
Got it.
So if you're a retail buyer and you're just renting it out, you're going to want a good lease agreement, because you're going to have tenants in there. So a good lease agreement, good indemnification clauses and liability stuff. So work with a good lawyer to get a good lease agreement.
Okay.
Check with your insurance agent. Check with city city zoning laws. And then you can, just understand that the money you're making, you're going to have to claim, and you're going to be paying taxes on. You're going to pay higher taxes than just a regular rental property.
Gotcha.
And in some places, they're even requiring you to pay the hotel tax.
Ooh.
Right? Everyone knows when you stay at a hotel, there's that hotel tax, that special hotel tax. Yes, you may have to pay that as well.
Got it.
So work with a good CPA who understands short-term rentals to make sure you're paying all the appropriate taxes. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And that's just the retail side. Now, if you're an investor, and this is an investment property,
Okay.
so you buy this rental, and instead of renting it out long-term, you decide to go the short-term route.
Okay.
Because cash flow is usually a lot higher and more profitable, so that's why investors are doing this.
Yep.
Because that money is different than a regular rental property, you're actually going to need two business entities that run the short-term rental.
Interesting.
You're going to need the LLC to hold and own the property.
Okay.
That's your typical LLC that's holding all your other rentals. That's totally fine.
Got it.
But it's not managing the property like it's managing your other long-term rentals. It's only holding title and owning it.
Got it.
That LLC is then going to go under a property management agreement with another company that's actually going to manage and run the Airbnb and collect the rents and run that income through that entity to save money on the taxes, the higher tax rates that you're paying on short-term rentals.
Oh, wow.
And you do not want to put that rental property into the business entity side because that's bad for taxes.
Got it.
Okay. So here's a big tip for real estate investors that is very common.
Okay.
Is they will stick. There's two kinds of business entities. There's the LLC that they hold the rentals in, and then there's their business entity. This is like any other small business, okay? And it's taxed like a small business.
Okay.
You never want to put a long-term hold or long-term asset like a rental property into a small business entity structure.
Got it.
Okay, that's taxed like essentially an S corp,
Yes.
where the tax savings comes. Because then, if you ever had to move that property out, there's a sale of corporate asset tax.
Got it.
So even if you had to take that property out of that company to refinance it,
Yeah.
and then put it right back in, that's a taxable event. Whereas if it's an LLC, it's not.
Gotcha.
So owning the short-term rental property, you own it in your rental LLC just like all of your other rentals.
Right.
But the business side is run through another company. Because the income you make in short-term rentals is different than the income you make on long-term rentals.
Wow. Very good stuff. So, I mean, that's really important that just kind of reiterates the importance in my mind of having a relationship with your attorney. I know people that I'll talk about you, for instance, and they'll like, you talk to your, and they're like, you talk to your attorney, and I'm like, well, a lot. And like, I talked to my attorney 3 years ago when he sent my LLC, and I've never heard from him since. And I'm like, what have you done in between? Like, I don't know, YouTube. They're getting their legal advice from YouTube, right?
The law school of Google.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just to move a property, because that's something that I didn't know, just to move a property to take it out, so let's say you can get a loan on it, refinance on it, and then put it back. I mean,
if it's in the wrong kind of entity,
yes.
That's a taxable event.
Wow, that is intense. So yeah, very important to make sure that you guys are not only utilizing legal advice, but staying in touch with your attorney, as you do different maneuvers in your investing portfolio.
Yeah. And if you're sort of a retail buyer and you just want to dabble, maybe running out the basement, your legal fees will be very, very low. You can kind of get set up and learn how to do that, and you're great.
Yep.
If you're a real estate investor, it's about continuous education. You're always got to be learning. You've always got to be upping your game, always learning new things. Because really, every deal, every house, every project, they're all going to be different, and they're all going to present different issues.
Yep.
And experience matters. And those of us that have been in this for 20 years know those issues.
Right.
And those are the tips that I'm giving you today.
Yes.
After 20 years, here's what I've learned.
Right.
So why spend 20 years when you can go to someone who has more experience and just learn?
Exactly.